Ah, the famous dress. Yes, the dress that broke the internet.
The phone rang and I picked it up, and it was a reporter. And the person said, "You have to see this."
One of the things about this dress that's so compelling is that there are these individual differences in how people experience it.
It's kind of an optical illusion. And we're not exactly sure what it is about different people's visual system, but it has to do with how we're interpreting the situation.
The dress image became this really powerful example of what I take to be an important component of why we have color vision to begin with.
The evolution of color vision in humans, and really it's the evolution of color vision in higher primates, in our primate relatives, our close relatives, evolved because we were looking for things in the environment that were differentially colored. Ripe fruits tend to be brightly colored, and the unripe fruit tends to be green. And that distinction, to be able to see a red or orange or yellow object among the green leaves, is one that we're very good at and almost certainly drove the evolution of primate color vision.
The sense of color has been observed and recorded and appreciated over several thousand years, at least since the time of Aristotle. The notions of color vision and visual sensors in the eye were discussed in the 17th and 18th centuries by Newton and by Thomas Young and Helmholtz in their wave theory of light, and by Clerk Maxwell in his discussions of the trichromacy of color. Maxwell was able to provide a set of so-called color matching functions that will provide you with a unique representation for every color. You can always find a set of amounts of red, green, and blue that will match any color that you have here. And so that tells you that the visual system is trichromatic. The retina contains 3 receptors, each with a different photopigment or visual pigment, whose peak sensitivity is in the short wavelength part of the spectrum, the middle part of the spectrum, and the long wave part of the spectrum. And those 3 separate types of photoreceptors, the combination of the activation of those 3 separate photoreceptors is what allows trichromacy and the ability to perceive color in a 3-dimensional world.
There are some people who are missing either all 3 or 2 of the 3, and those individuals live in a black, white, and gray world.
And if you went and took a black and white camera and went through an impressionist art gallery, it wouldn't have a big impact. Or if you took a black and white camera looking at the sunset or the rainbow or the autumn leaves, none of these things that we find to be so compelling. It's all about the color and how the effect it has on it.
Color is fascinating because it informs a lot of the way in which we interact with the world in ways that are often unconscious. It's just an important aspect of our engagement with the world, almost like a primary thing.
In recent years, there has been increasing focus on color perception and the neural processing or the electrical processing that is required to carry out, to interpret perceptions in the brain. Neuroscientists are now beginning to unravel the connection between these electrical circuits in the brain that mediate color, and they are discovering how these electrical circuits also contribute to higher order cognitive function, such as emotion, attention, decision-making, memory, and language.
Using non-invasive imaging, we decided to look in the brain to try and look at the different parts of monkeys and humans that respond to color. And to our great surprise, we discovered that enormous parts of both monkey brains and human brains are activated by color in the parts of the brain that we thought were reserved for high-level object vision, face recognition and object memory and problem solving and so on. And so we've now been in this process of trying to understand what those parts of brain are doing. So this is color now, not because I'm interested in color, it's color as a tool to try and address this very basic question about how the brain works, how it's organized.
Well, color vision is a sense that we have all lived with. We've all grown up with it. We think we understand it because it seems so intuitively obvious. But in fact, the calculations that the brain and retina perform are very complex, very sophisticated, and they give us a color world that is in many ways different from the objective world around us, in the sense that color has been manipulated. In some way, color is a mental construct of the world.
And it turns out that at some deep level, the way the brain works, the ability to process color and the ability to experience memory, to experience emotion, and to experience language are intimately involved. Color can also be used to probe the behaviors associated with emotion, with language. Those are functions that intimately define us as human beings.